Hi, I'm Clyde Lewis, and welcome to Ground Zero Behind the Scenes. I have been bombarded lately with all kinds of propaganda regarding obesity, regarding childhood obesity, regarding why America is fat, how the majority of us are fat. I'm fat. I know I'm fat. In fact, I gained a lot of weight after I was released from the hospital after having double renal cell carcinoma. I'm a cancer survivor, but the idea of gaining weight was nothing that was on my mind when I got out of the hospital. The idea was trying to be healthy, but I can't beat the situation if I'm eating foods that aren't good for me. So I decided to do some investigation, and what I've done is I've put together a number of presentations and ideas that may put us probably in a little bit more clear perspective as to why America is fat. People will argue it's because we're sedentary. People will argue that it's because of the fact that, there are no exercise programs, that we're eating too much candy, that we're eating too many foods that aren't good for us. Well, the truth is that we're getting a lot of things processed, a lot of things that are genetically modified. We're getting a lot of things that, or actually a lot of groups are now lobbying for you to eat their foods. And of course, fast food is a factor because there are more fast food places in any particular city than there are places to eat well, or to at least make choices of green vegetables, fruits, nuts, and lean meats. People say you should eliminate certain things from your diet, add certain things from your diet. No, we should be able to eat normal diets. Our families, our earlier ancestors were able to eat normal diets. People who lived before us had normal diets. And the situation is that now we're wondering why every time we eat something, we gain 3, 4, 5 pounds. Well, you need to pay attention to what's going on and how this is part of a more deeper agenda, a conspiracy. Take a look. Now, we've talked about Agenda 21 on my program. We've talked about it many times and how they're planning on meeting in June about global sustainability. Agenda 21 is actually a comprehensive plan of action to be taken globally, nationally, and locally by organizations of the United Nations systems, governments, and major groups, every area in which humans impact the environment. Now, the purpose of this agenda is to review ways that the world can be a better place for sustainable development. According to the report Habitat 2, within the agenda, sustainable development consists of a number of suggestions to improve the environment. First in the agenda is to establish a group of consensus of crises and solutions that include separating the people and eventually culling them, which means remove them from the planet. Now, this style of commentary was realized in Mein Kampf, written by Hitler, and several other people have talked about the sifting of human material, how we separate people. We move them from the thin ones to the fatter ones to the even obese ones. We are dividing the people up according to health and according to body weight and body size. That's the first part of the conspiracy. Who are the ones we can wipe out first? I can promise you that the obese are the ones to go first. Not just because they are fat and they're undesirable, it's because we are being fattened for the kill. And that's what you need to take a look at. One of the ways they are going to eliminate the obese and eliminate the fat people, they're warning you now that you're going to be on the list if you don't lose weight. And the reason why is because one of the fundamental ways to do this is they will withhold food in the future. Whenever there's a scarcity of food, whenever resources are depleted, they withhold food from certain people. Certain people get it, they divide it equally. Whenever a country is impoverished, a military regime comes in, they hold the foodstuffs as valuable commodities, and the people there have to fight for those foodstuffs. And that is what you're going to be seeing in the future. You're going to be hearing about more contaminated foodstuffs. You're going to be hearing about more cattle that have mad cow disease. You're going to be hearing more about these things because they are scares in a way that they tell you, stay away from these types of foods. It's part of the lobbying process. It's part of the conspiracy to make you fat, to make you unhealthy, and to eventually wipe you out. And that's what the agenda of Agenda 21 is. I want to acquaint you with a phrase called weaponized food, the idea that food can be used as a weapon. It's not a surprise that they're approaching this by showing who the fat ones are, the ones that are consuming the most, because they're the ones that are going to be pushed aside, and they're going to be told either stop consuming, or you're going to have to leave, or you're going to have to go into a re-education facility where we can teach you to not use as much resources. It's the idea of fat people or obese people have a larger carbon footprint on the planet, and they will be eliminated, and food will actually be used as a weapon against you. You see, that's why it's important now, and I'm even thinking about this because I've gone back to eating lean meats and I've been eating fresh green vegetables and things of that nature, and I don't care what the cost is because I know that if I'm doing this, I'm doing better for my body than eating fast food and all this other stuff, and I'm not one of those guys that's against fast food. I love cheeseburgers, I love pizza, I love ice cream, I love it all. But the problem is when it comes down to it, with the global sustainability approach that they're heading towards on June 20th, with the plan that they're doing with the UN and several others, they're going to be plotting on how to single out those who are overweight, and then they're going to move in and say, look, if you're not going to shape up, we're going to ship you off the island. And that's how it's going to work. Agenda 21 has already been in the cards, and this is how they do it, through nutrition and food. And there are several groups out there that want to lobby to teach you how to eat improperly because they want you to fatten up so they can give a good reason to keep you from getting any benefits from helping you, because they're going to say it's your fault. You ate all that food and you didn't work and you didn't move. They want to sift out the human material. It's part of the conspiracy. If you want to know the future, all you have to do is go to George Orwell to find it. If you look at 1984, if you look at Animal Farm, one of the things that was most interesting is in Animal Farm, when Napoleon decided to create the government within the farm, he decided to create a health plan where he told the other animals they couldn't eat the apples and they couldn't eat the milk, but the pigs could eat the apples and the milk. And see, that's the thing, is they want to keep us on the brink of starvation. That is the way they keep us working hard. That is the way they keep us thinking about Big Brother, the big government, and saying the big government will provide for us in a socialist way. In fact, Orwell said, hierarchical society is only possible on the basis of poverty and ignorance. This new version is the past, and no different past can ever have existed. In principle, the war effort is always planned to keep society on the brink of starvation. So if you're not overweight, if you're not obese, you're thinner. If you are obese, they will starve you. If you're not taking care of yourself now, you will be the ones that will be shipped off the planet, taken away, and culled because you are a burden on their plan and agenda. Read Agenda 21 and you will see that this is why they are focusing on the obese, because what they're doing is they're creating a new group to hate, a new group to divide, and a new scapegoat to eliminate if they need to. I'm Clyde Lewis, and this is Ground Zero Behind the Scenes.